Hey guys, hope everyone is going well. Partner's taking me to netball a little bit early, so I got a little bit of time until I game. So thought I'd get a live stream for you guys, and also do a little bit of, if we get enough people on here, a little bit of Q&A at the end as well, for you guys to be able to get any questions. We'll wait a little bit for a few people to be able to jump on the stream, because Facebook is a little bit slow to get them going. Shout out if you're on the stream, give us a like or a comment, let me know you can hear me all right. I'm on a bit of a, got a few cars coming past in the car here, so there might be a little bit of background noise as well. But pretty much what we're going to talk about today is off-season, what the off-season is, and how it pretty much doesn't exist. Okay, for anyone who takes their racing seriously, who's looking for success in racing, for long-term success, there really is no off-season. Okay, because the minute that you take time off racing, off training, off riding, everything starts to go backwards. You start to detrain. Everything starts to move backwards. You're not moving forwards. You're not making progress. So I see a common mistake with a lot of racers is that they get to the end of the season. Okay, so like for motocross, the MX Nationals is all done and dusted now. Okay. And for those not doing the Supercross that they won't be racing through the summertime, okay, or towards the end of this year, they're having time off, okay, so they're like, oh, I need the rest, I need the relaxation, I'm having time off, recovering, and then get back into it next year when the new bikes start and teams start putting everything together, and that's when they start to get back into it. So they end up having a few months where they're not really training properly, they're not eating the right stuff, they're not training properly in the gym, they're not training properly on the bike, okay, maybe they're not on the bike as much, maybe they're not in the gym as much, and that becomes a real problem, because then when they start next season, when they get back into racing, things are starting to turn up again. They increase their intensity, they increase their riding, they increase their training, but they've only got to where they were before. So they go through the whole season, they get to the end, they taper it off, and then they start to build up again, and they only have enough time to be able to build up to where they were before. Now, the goal with racing, especially, I would say not so much with the Australian series, but more with the World Series and the like the Pro Motocross or the MXGP, where they're racing very, very regularly. With those type of series, you're working on maintaining your fitness throughout, not working on actually improving it. In Australia, it's a little bit different, because with the MX Nationals only having, say, 6 rounds, there's plenty of time for us to be able to build fitness within those rounds. We don't need to always worry about just maintaining. We can actually make progress as well, because our rounds aren't back-to-back every single weekend, which is a huge advantage. So when we have off season, there's really no such thing as off season. Okay, it's straight into pre-season. You would maybe have a week off. Okay, so if you rode at the Nationals, you rode at Coolum here in Australia, and you've done the last round. Okay, and you're getting ready for next year, then really you should be having a week off. Okay, 2 absolute max, and then getting straight back into training, preparing for next year, because that's where the real progress is made. The real progress with fitness, with training, with racing isn't made in the season, it's made before the season. That's where all the hard work's done. That's what separates the guys that come into the series from the ones that are at the top to the ones that are trying to build through the season. See people that are building through the season because they haven't got their pre-season training right. They haven't done the right things. They haven't been training right. They haven't been doing enough riding. They haven't been doing the right things to be able to be on track from the first round. Now, you don't want to be that racer that takes all season to get going. You get to the last round and find that you're having your best rounds at the end of the year. You want to be able to have that at the start of the year, and the only way to have that is to start now. Okay, so if you start now, we're in September. Okay, so that gives you October, November, December, January, February, March. Okay, we're talking 6 months there, half a year, 50% of the year to get a head start on everyone else. So while everyone else is fucking around, while they're going on holidays, taking a break, doing all those sorts of things, and you're training hard, you're actually getting another 6 months on them, okay? Most people will start riding in the new year. They'll have a bit of time off over Christmas, leading up to the end of the season, and get started in the new year. So you can get an extra 3 months. Hey, Brandon, you can get an extra 3 months on everyone else, and get a bit of a head start on them. That's 25% of the year. Okay, an extra 3 months, an extra 12, 13 weeks there of solid training and riding that you can get in over everyone else. And the more time you're getting in with this, the more time you're building. Hey, Dylan. the more time you're able to progress in front of everyone else. Instead of getting to next year going, oh, I've got my new bike, fucking around with your new bike, trying to get the suspension right, trying to work out any issues with your new bike, trying to get everything set up, trying to get bike time again, okay, and then not actually making any real progress, kind of just getting back to where you were the season before with your old equipment, okay, at the end of the season. You want to be able to work on using the end of this season as progress to be able to push forward, to be able to get that advantage on everyone else, to be able to be the person that's in front and set yourself ahead of everyone else. So when everyone else is at the start of next year getting their bikes, okay, putting their sticky kits on, posting their pictures of their beautiful new bikes, you've already had 3 months of training, okay, 3 months of extra practice. So you're taking your training seriously. You're not trying to set things up from scratch. You're putting the minor tweaks on, getting ready for round one as soon as it's coming up next year, okay. And that's really, really important. Too many people go backwards, okay. They start to climb during the season, they get better and better and better. They get to the end of the season, they go, I'm going to have a break. So they drop back down. Then they start at the start of the new year, and then they peak back up. And 2 years in a row, they're in exactly the same spot. So now, and the difference between now and in 5 years' time, they're going to be exactly the same spot. They haven't had any extra ride time. They haven't had any extra training. They haven't had that time to improve. What we need to be working on with your training, with your racing, is a constant climb, a constant level of growth over the long term. So you need to be looking at your training and racing over the next 5 years, over the next 10 years, okay? And going, okay, cool. I'm here now. This is where I want to be in 5 years. This is how I'm going to get there, okay? And having months off training and months off riding isn't going to get you there. It's not going to get the job done, okay? So we need to be thinking long term, and we need to be thinking about how we're going to get there and having that map. And we always talk about with you guys, having those goals, those 90-day goals, okay? And we need to have those goals to keep us driving forward, especially over the off season, because we don't have any races to work towards. We don't have any events coming up, okay? We don't have people maybe to go and ride with. Maybe we don't have a team to be able to work with. Maybe it's not as full on as what it is during the season, so it's a lot harder to be able to get out there. Maybe a bit harder to even find motivation to go and train, okay? But when you have those long-term goals in sight, you have those 90-day goals of what you're working towards, that helps to motivate you with your training, okay? So if you have 90-day goals leading up to the end of this year, to Christmas time, okay? Let's just say for you guys who have done the Nationals, not doing Supercross, finished your motocross. If you just go into these next few weeks, these next few months, without any goals, chances are you're not going to be training hard, you're not going to be riding hard, you're not going to be putting the time and effort in because you don't have anything to work towards. Then when the new year ticks over, you got your new bikes, they announce all the dates for all the rounds, and you're like, oh fuck, round one's coming, I better hurry up and get my shit together, and it's too late. Okay, so when we set those 90-day goals and you say, okay, this is where I want to be by Christmas. This is the level of fitness I need to have. This is the level of flexibility. This is the things I need to work on with my mindset. These are the things I need to work on with my conditioning, with my strength. Arm pump was an issue for me this year. How am I going to fix that over the next 90 days? Nutrition was an issue for me over this season. How am I going to fix that over the next 90 days? And have goals and have targets that are going to help to keep you in line with that over the next 90 days, to keep you motivated, to keep you driven and keep you on track, because you will be absolutely surprised how much of an advantage you can give yourself just by tackling these 3 months. So you've already peaked, you've already been riding well at Coolum, and if you can keep that on the incline to next year, then that means instead of starting here next year, you now start up here. Whereas everyone else has finished here, they stop training, they go down here, then they start to train again, and they end up back on the same playing field, okay? Exactly where they were at the last round, or even worse, even more detrained. Whereas if you can keep climbing and improve your fitness, improve your time on the bike, improve your skills, you can set yourself apart from everyone else by putting in that extra time. And this doesn't mean that you need to be go out there and flogging yourself. Obviously, we do need to be having downtime with training and racing, but when we're saying downtime, we're not saying not riding, not gym, not doing anything. You still need to be working on maintaining, but working maybe on more skill-based stuff. So when you're getting out on the bike, instead of going out there and just carving out half-hour motos, spending more time on developing skills. So if you have a coach that helps with your riding, okay, if you have things in particular that were letting you down this year, maybe you weren't very good with ruts, maybe you weren't good at hard pack, maybe you weren't good at sand, maybe you weren't good at jumping the big jumps, whatever that was, then being able to isolate time to be able to work on your weaknesses, to be able to help improve them, okay? Otherwise, that's the perfect time to be able to do that, because obviously when race season comes, then what you're going to be focusing on is racing, getting the bike set up, making sure everything's organized, and that the focus is going to be taken off skill. It's going to be more focused on being able to get out there and get the motos done, and be able to improve that way, okay? It's too much of a rush. So you need to make sure that you're not taking time off. Yes, you need to have downtime. You need to take step things back a little bit, but you still need to be making progress, okay? That doesn't mean pounding yourself into the ground, but it does mean putting the work in to make sure that you're better, and being able to goal set, being able to absolutely dissect your training, your racing, okay, all the areas this season. You've got a whole year worth of evidence, a worth of data. Now, while it's fresh in your mind, you need to be going through that. Okay, cool. My mindset let me down at round 2. I had an accident and that put me out for the rest of the day. That was mentally, okay? That's something you need to be able to work on. Okay, during training, I had a few injuries with training. My flexibility, mobility, and movement quality is pretty poor. I need to be able to work on that. Okay, I'm stepping up from a 250 to a 450. I'm going to need to be a shit ton stronger because it's got a shit ton more power. Okay, how are we going to do that? Being able to really dissect and rip apart everything from this season into little chunks and working out how you can make it better. Don't assume that you ever have anything nailed or everything 100%, okay? And this is something I spoke about on the previous live stream. Dissect everything and work out how you can make it better. If you think it's good now, make it even better. If you think it's great and there's nothing that you can fix, go back and look harder and find something else to be able to fix and make it better, okay? Because if you're not, hey Matt, if you're not constantly experimenting and trying new things with your training, or with your racing, with your riding, okay, with different areas of performance to be successful, then you're not going to be able to get there. You're not going to have that edge on everyone else, okay? So it's all about being able to have that consistency, not having that, the off season, okay? The off season's not, it shouldn't even be a term in your vocabulary. It should go straight to during season, or present season, to straight into pre-season. Okay, there's no off season, there's no time off, there's no, oh, I'll have a few months off for the rest of this year and then get back on the bike next year, because you're going to be detrained, you're going to be going backwards, things aren't going to be improving. You're going to be putting yourself behind everyone else rather than putting yourself ahead, okay? And you want that advantage going into next year. You don't want to take 6 rounds to get going and go, oh, fuck, I wish I was doing this, what I did in round 6 at round 1. You want to be starting from round 1. You want to be at the top of your game at round 1 while everyone else is piss farting around. They're all out going to parties, going to nightclubs, having a good time, enjoying their time off and going on holidays. You want to be the one that's working, that's put the time and effort in, and be able to perform it and be up the front. Okay, guys, so any questions, guys? I think the live stream's been cut in and out a little bit, but any questions, guys, with anything that I've been through with you so far? Any suggestions for the live streams, or any questions that you'd like me to ask? I said I'll do a bit of Q&A, but obviously on a Saturday, most of you will be out either working or riding or racing today. And assuming tomorrow as well. Is there anything else, guys? Any questions about anything, about how we should be tackling the pre-season, tackling the end of the race season, to be able to help for next year, or even with goal setting? If there's anything like that, hit me up. Are you guys finding this useful? Give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you're finding this useful so far. Okay. It looks like there's not too many of you here, but I'm sure heaps of you will come back. If you guys are watching this, the replay, feel free to post any questions for me to answer. Otherwise, I will maybe get a live stream done tomorrow. Otherwise, usually we've been doubling up on Mondays because I don't seem to get the Sunday ones in. So I may see you guys on Monday. So remember, train hard, race hard, guys. Have a good weekend. Get plenty of time on the bike. And if you're racing, give it hell, okay? Go out there and go hard. See you guys. Have a great weekend.